Good morning, Bitcoin. My name is Thomas Hunt, and this is Proof of Work. Proof of Work is a show about the people behind Bitcoin and how they got here. Today we're joined by Travin Keith. How's it going, Travin?
It's going very well. Thanks for having me on here.
Right. Enjoying the conference? Have you been in Essen before?
No, it's my first time here, first time at Blockchain Hotel, and very excited to give my presentation later this afternoon.
Nice. Very cool. What's your presentation going to be about?
It's going to be about the benefits of decentralization. So I'm going to bring up various experiences from me in my life, also things that I've experienced and read.
Nice.
Just trying to show how Bitcoin plays a key role in most of it.
That's great. I saw a guy last night, he had a t-shirt that said, "This t-shirt is more decentralized than Ripple." And I kind of had to agree with him. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty decentralized t-shirt.
That's a pretty funny shirt.
Yeah, it was quite all right. So we're going to go ahead and start with everyone's most favorite and familiar question. What was your first computer?
Oh, well, my first computer, so I don't remember the exact specs about it, but I remember it being a Windows 95, full desktop computer, like beige everywhere, like with a door thing to the CPU.
Was it a tower or a pizza box?
It was a tower.
Nice.
And yeah, it was my dad just like brought in this thing one day. And
Yeah?
this is our computer now. You figure out how to use it.
Wow.
And so I remember like turning on that green button on the fully beige tower, just pressing it in, and it's like Windows 95. It's like, cool. So I just played around with it and tried to do things, and I had to self-teach myself everything about it.
Sure.
So, no, it was quite fun, and I remember, when I broke the keyboard because I spilled some juice on that.
Oh.
Thing,
Well, at least it wasn't a rage incident. The other way to break a keyboard is smashing it. So.
No, that would be for the printer.
Oh.
That would also be very deserving of.
Yeah, PC load letter.
Yeah.
What do you mean load letter?
Yeah, so it was just a very basic device, but I stuck with it, and because I was the only who self-taught myself, I ended up helping all of my relatives, help my grandparents install their first computer, and everything like that. So it's been fun ever since. Like going to open source, especially, also made things get more control.
That's awesome. And where did you live when you got your first computer?
I was living in Cebu City, Philippines. At the
Oh,
time,
interesting.
So that's where I'm from.
Did a lot of people have computers? Was it a common thing, or?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. So I'll admit I was very privileged.
Yeah, very lucky. Yeah.
I mean, of course, later on, like when the 2000s hit around, like a lot of people had computers.
Sure.
But back then, I mean, even in the 2000s, a lot of people still went to internet cafes.
Yeah.
So I was lucky to have my own, and actually it was quite decent. My dad intentionally spent a decent amount of money, thinking that he wouldn't have to buy a new one.
Oh, I know. Don't you wish? Yeah. The minute you take it off the lot, it's no good anymore. Yeah.
So, but it was not many people had email addresses also in the 2000s, so I was quite ahead of my time, luckily. But.
And what did you do with the computer?
Learn to type.
Yeah? All right.
Strangely, I love typewriters. I still have 3 typewriters today.
Nice, me too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
I got a couple, yeah.
So I actually just practiced typing. I just typed random stuff. And it was so cool for me because I could erase.
Yeah,
It's like, wow.
Well, from a writing perspective, the ability to highlight a paragraph and move it after another paragraph.
Yeah.
Oh, that right there, you could never do that on paper.
No.
That would be impossible.
Yeah.
So.
And of course I played video games.
Yeah, which kind? What kind? Yeah.
So funny thing, I told my parents, I want one game only. It's anything to do with Star Wars.
Okay.
And so they got me StarCraft.
Oh, close, but actually probably better. StarCraft, I mean, there's some good LucasArts games, but there's none of them on the level of StarCraft.
Yeah, that game was fantastic.
I love StarCraft. Yeah.
So many memories. I was still a kid at the time, and I remember going to the internet cafe and playing against college students.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would win, most of the times I would lose. But the funny thing about all of that is that I loved to, it's going to sound bad, but I like to cheat in the game because it's just fun to play around with.
Yeah.
And that's how I became really fast at typing.
Huh.
Because my brother and I had a contest and who could type all of the cheats faster.
What cheats were there?
Show me the money, Black Sheep Wall, Operation Seawall, Food for Thought. Those were the 4. We had to type them in order.
Wow.
One gave you money, one showed you the entire map, the other one made building units faster, and the last one was removing the supply cap.
Wow. That's
Never going to forget that.
No, I never knew any of the codes, but I always played the game, and I was always
you played it properly.
I was always Zerg rushing people, and we used to play like Age of Empires and Warcraft and all of those. Warcraft before World of Warcraft, and it was so funny. The guys in the computer lab had totally different strategies than me, and I didn't respect them at all. They would sit there and they would build walls, and they would build these epic, beautiful cities, and it would take like 3 hours. And I would get in there, and I would be sending tanks in your base in the first 5 minutes. And there'd be tanks, or there'd be Zerg, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You would be, oh shit, they're already here, they found me. And once I found you, the tanks are just going to keep coming, because I'm just about production and more tanks.
Yeah.
Production, more tanks, production, more tanks. Oh shit, there's tanks in my base. They're all coordinated, they just keep coming. And no, their walls could not hold me back, and they would be sitting back there building their beautiful walled structures, and I would be just rocking the computer players across the map.
Oh man,
so
I had the exact
wonderful.
same strategy as the people you kicked.
Oh no, you're a wall builder.
I was a wall builder. My strategy in Age of Empires was actually to find another wall builder, just break through a small piece, take over their city, and then their wall.
Oh, keep the
mine.
wall.
Especially if it was like a team versus team thing, because then you can't attack the walls if it was your teammates.
Oh, that's funny. You can't tell them to attack their teammates.
Yeah. So
Yeah. There's a great old Patton quote that I'm always kicking around where he said, "Fixed fortifications are a monument to the stupidity of man." And I'm just like, yeah. Because you just think about it, and even now we have the situation in America, they want to build a wall on the border and all that nonsense, and it's like, everyone's going to know the wall's there. They're going to know how big it is so they can bring a ladder. They're going to know how long it is so they can walk around it.
Yep.
And they can know if there's gaps or if there's not sections you haven't filled in. And to wall off an entire border like that is really a monument to your stupidity. And Patton's also talking about the cement weight of these walls. Like the Great Wall of China is still there, and it was worthless then and it's worthless now, and the Mongols just rode around it. Right? It's the longest wall in the world. It's one of the tallest walls. And they just rode around it, and they conquered China, and they ruled it for thousands of years. And people pretty much forgot that they built the wall to keep the Mongols out. But then the Mongols ruled China, Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan, etc., etc. So pretty wild stuff with those walls. So after you were playing StarCraft, did you stick with computers? Was it your profession? Did you study in college, or did you kind of move away and do something else?
So I still loved it. I mean, I actually learned programming in high school. I learned BASIC.
Yeah.
Still know how to use BASIC.
Did you have line numbers, or you're after line numbers? You're too young for line numbers.
No, I think I had to use really old stuff too. So
I used 10, 20, 30. Yeah.
No,
That's when I started. It was
go to line this.
Yeah, go to line this. Yeah, that was it, man.
That was
you
it.
could
That
do
was
the
fantastic.
infinite loops and everything. And yeah, it was fun stuff.
So I stuck with it, but I always felt like I didn't want to make a full career out of it, because so during my programming classes, I loved solving the problems.
Yeah.
But I got really pissed off when I couldn't.
Oh yeah.
Usually I was able to, but and I didn't like being told what to build. So I liked the open challenges that my teachers gave us.
Yeah.
So like, oh, build something cool, build a cool game. Like, oh,
sure.
I love it. But when they said no, you have to solve this problem. Like,
that's what I found too. I was so frustrated, and they wouldn't help me. They were like, you have to figure it out. That's the point. And I was like, why don't you help and explain it to me? And it doesn't make sense. And we were always moving numbers in and out of arrays and doing all this stuff, and it never had an impact on me. But then years later, I wanted to build a blog, so I bought a book about PHP, and my friend showed me SQL just a little bit, and then I was off to the races building a blog, and I had no problem like picturing how to put the data in, how to take the data out, what a database was. Like it made perfect sense to me, whereas the arrays and the numbers and the things they were trying to teach me before, and they tried to make me take really hard math and all that, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't link up, and I just like using computers. As it turns out, I'm a good computer user. So
same for me. I mean, I didn't like being taught how to do programming. I tried to take a intro to Java class when I was in college. I studied business in college because I wanted something more open that I could jump around, because I get bored.
That's right. That's right. And the other thing, when they were teaching me programming, it seemed like they were going to put you in a cubicle, and like it would be dark, and they'd lock you there forever, and you'd have a chain on your leg, and you'd do this boring stuff all day. And then it turns out Facebook builds these grand programmer palaces, and Google builds free laundry and free gyms and all these things. And it's like, you could have told us that in school. Like money is one thing, but working in a cathedral with free food and free laundry, like, I mean, you could have told us that. You know? Like I knew they'd be rich and everything, but I didn't know they'd like work in palaces too.
Yeah, so. I had this image of just me being in front of the computer all day, and just like typing and typing. Like,
and singular too, not group. Now it's so much of this group, and they talk and they use other functions from other code, and there's pre-written stuff, a lot of the pre-written stuff, and it's just yeah, it's a totally different ball game than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, like if I knew that that's how it would end up being, I could have thought about maybe doing like a double major or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long I would still last though, because after when I took the Java class, I got frustrated because I was like, I'd rather just teach myself.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I ended up doing. So I worked in tech support actually.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
I was
me
one
too.
of the few tech support staff members who wasn't a computer science student at university.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's where I just taught myself everything. So funny enough, I had to teach myself how to use a Mac because I never used a Mac until I worked in tech support there.
Sure.
So,
well, Macs are pretty easy. You're lucky there.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
One of the best things I've found, at least since OS X, is that if I think about logically where something should be, like a configuration or a setting, it's there. Whereas Windows, I have to remember back to like 95 and where the menu is, and that it's under 3 different other menus. And what I've always found so horrifying about Windows is that, and I haven't checked any of the newer versions, but even on like XP or Vista or whatever, I could dig down and I would find a menu from Windows 95. And I'll be like, why is this menu still here? Why hasn't this been cleaned up? Why doesn't anyone care about this setting that I have to go in and change every time? And it's stuff like that drove me crazy and led me towards the Mac.
Yeah,
So.
no, I understand. I went on the other route going to Ubuntu,
Oh,
Linux operating system, so...
Same kind of thing. Every once in a while, it would dump my video card driver, and I'd spend 3 hours fixing it. And I was like, no, I just want to edit video. I just want to like use the computer, and that's what the Mac really provides for me.
Yeah.
So.
No, I actually had a problem like earlier this year. So I have a Windows machine and a Linux machine, and with my Ubuntu laptop, it wouldn't connect to the internet for 3 hours. I don't know why, and it didn't have even anything to do with the Wi-Fi driver. With antenna driver, it just had something to do with, I think, with my keyboard, which was I was like, how does this connect? Yeah, but actually, eventually I was able to fix it. So you know, it's trade-offs when you use.
Well, and it teaches you things. I mean, it teaches you tech support. It teaches you being patient and Googling things, which originally wasn't even an option. If your Linux computer was broken, or especially for me when I'd screwed up my Windows computer, there was no second computer to look up things, and there was no laptop with the desktop. There was just the desktop, and when you'd screwed it up and you were reinstalling the operating system and messing with the disk partitions, all those kind of things, you had to fix it, or there was no more computer, and there was no phone to look for help, and there's no laptop to look for help. It was just that one computer, and it was broken. And you just stay up all night reinstalling Windows, and that's what it was. So.
That brings back memories.
Yeah. I made a vow like 5 years ago I was never going to install Windows XP again, and it's been going really good. I really like not installing Windows. Like, it's been an amazing 5-6 years here.
That's good.
So
I once installed Windows over 100 times in 1 year. Granted, it's because I kept messing up some partitions.
See? I've been there, and it's the same thing, and you think, why am I doing this? I thought I was a good computer user, and it turns out, no, you're just good at messing it up.
Yes. Yep.
So, but that's how you learn things. If you don't mess it up, you're not going to learn anything.
Absolutely.
And people are all afraid of their computers and afraid of breaking them, but it's better to learn something breaking it than to ignore it and not learn anything.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that.
So you got a business degree, and you're good at figuring things out. So how did you find out about Bitcoin?
So while I was working in tech support, so this is in 2011.
Right.
My coworker Aaron, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, Travin, you're studying business. I was studying international business, so it's like, you want to go global, and you're into tech.
Yeah.
Just really take a look at this thing called Bitcoin." And I said, "Oh, what is it?" It's like, it's internet money." Like, "Oh, what can I buy with it?" He says, this thing called Silk Road. You can buy a lot of stuff on there. And I look into what is it. Dude, Aaron, I'm trying to immigrate to the United States here. I'm not gonna touch this. But I remember looking over his shoulder and seeing $3.
Yeah.
And I just forget about it at that point, which was Anyway, a few years later, I was working in web marketing at the time, and I was very proud of myself because I just got published on this website called Search Engine Journal, which a lot of web marketers go to for information. So I was very happy.
Nice.
And I go to Yahoo, and I see Bitcoin hits $1,000.
Ooh.
And I just I was riding high that day, and then the moment I come home and read that, I was like,
wow.
Grab my phone. I'm trying to call there.
What happened about that Bitcoin you told me about?
So I'm digging deep into it, and I just get lost in a rabbit hole. I mean, back then there wasn't a lot of information available.
Sure.
I mean, when I asked people what was the value of Bitcoin, I got side tangented and people started talking about gold. I'm like, you're not answering my question.
Yeah.
Like, I know the history of gold.
Yeah.
Tell me why this is value and how does it work and things like that. So yeah, I read through the white paper. I had to read it multiple times, I have to admit.
Sure.
I didn't understand
it's very thick. It's very detailed with the data. You think it's a very short paper and it's easy to read, but no, it's packed in there. Yeah.
Especially for me, I don't have a background in cryptography. So I had to read, when I get stuck on something, I had to look it up. Like, I had no idea what SHA-256 was, actually. Like, I knew about encryption, but I didn't know about how it worked and things like that. So yeah, I had to look it up. Ask a lot of people. I mean, there was a big hype back then also. I mean, it's smaller than it is now, but still it was hard to find right information. Just got lost in the rabbit hole, and here I am today.
Nice. Well, and then what did you do with Bitcoin after that? Did you just buy it and tell people about it, or did you try to go into business, or maybe work at a startup or something?
So actually, I applied for a role at Coinbase.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
They didn't accept me.
Aww.
I have no regrets.
Did you get an interview or a free Danish or anything like that? No?
No, I didn't. I was, that's because I was only in a work permit in the US.
Sure,
it was expiring, so none of them wanted to talk to me.
That's a difficult situation with the papers and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. No, so I just use it around. I tried to use it. I got this card called CoinKite, which I really liked because when you spent it, the merchant would receive Bitcoin. They wouldn't receive it converted to fiat or anything.
Sure,
they received Bitcoin. Downside was the merchants needed to buy a special terminal for that, which cost about $500.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I tried to tell people about it. I asked a lot of people about it who I knew were more knowledgeable about computer science than I was. So they also got interested. So funny thing, the university I went to is the same university that Nick Szabo and Wei Dai went to.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if I went to the CS program, I was like, I could have tried to
you've been right there. But of course, I mean, even Nick Szabo, I mean, he was working on his own project. I mean, Adam Back was working on his own project. A lot of these people, even if they are the top of the top and the smartest, they didn't exactly see this coming. And it's also good to note that Liberty Dollar, E-Dollar, Liberty Reserved, all these there were many, Hashcash, Chaumian Cash, there were many, DigiCash, there were so many different attempts at this internet money. Nobody knew which one was going to be the winner. And it was not clear for quite a while that, Bitcoin was just the one. It wasn't going to be, another centralized or another shut down. Or Satoshi made a lot of claims and promises, and they might not have all paid off. There's always a possibility you're reading some claim and then the code doesn't back it up, or somebody smarter comes along and breaks the code, and we're still waiting. As a $1 billion prize or whatever it is to break Bitcoin, steal all the Bitcoins, all that kind of thing, if you could really break it. So if you're a hacker, get on it. And they've had 6 years now, or 10 years even, whatever it is, to break it. And nothing yet. It still works pretty good. I mean, the exchanges get hacked, the things attached to Bitcoin, but the thing itself keeps working. So.
That's, actually, with 10 years of it working, just fine. Well, like 99.999% of the time. I remember there was one issue where they had to do that one checkpoint because of some bug. I'll give it that.
One time.
So I moved from the States to Fiji.
Oh, wow.
Which is dictatorship at the time. I'm actually going to talk more about this in my presentation later. So
interesting.
Go to that one.
Yeah, check it out on Blockchain Hotel. Probably going to be on their YouTube channel later. So check that out.
So I... having this idea of being able to transfer money to somebody else without the government being involved was such a powerful thing. So I talked to the Fijians about it. They were very interested because, actually even the expats, because there was this problem where if you brought money into the country, they would tax it 50%.
Wow.
50%.
Wow.
And it's just, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I told them, like, hey, if you had a Bitcoin wallet, you could just, bring the private keys with you.
Yeah.
When you moved here to retire, and you would still have all of your money.
What I like about that too is they have all these rules at the airports. You can't take over 10,000 euros or whatever it is. You don't really have the Bitcoin with you. Like if you have the private key, the Bitcoin is on the blockchain. You don't have the Bitcoin. You have the access to the money. So I'm sure eventually they'll straighten it out in the legal language and they'll make them equivalencies. But right now, in my opinion, carrying cash is not the same thing as carrying a key to a lock box. You have access to the money, sure, but I mean, I have access to my bank accounts.
Exactly.
I have access to everything else. It's the same kind of thing.
I have access to my credit card.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm carrying that around in cash.
No,
exactly.
no. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, because you really could take your money from America to Fiji and not really take your money. You're just really taking your key, your access to your money. And then does that count? Do they tax that? Can they tax that? At a certain point, they probably have to use force. And then they can tax anything they want if they use force.
Yes.
But it is a complicated scenario that Bitcoin brings up, and it happens right away, especially if you're doing the international travel or moving around. So
absolutely. So that was one thing nice when I was living a nomad life for a while.
That's
I started getting involved in a number of things. So I got involved with Bitcoin markets. I'm an administrator now on the Slack channels that we have.
Nice.
But the primary one is on subreddit, so we have 120,000 people now, which freaks me out. That's why I've requested to, for a while, not be a Reddit moderator, because I don't have that much time to filter that out.
Well, but you should be happy you were involved in something that's successful. I mean, in a certain way, that the price was really great because it kind of solidified that Bitcoin was a real thing when the price was up. And even now, the fact that people are sticking with it, not just running away, just shows this was a good idea. We were right all along. 6 years ago when the banks ignored us and called us names and all that, we were right, they were wrong, and as soon as this whole blockchain thing blows over, it's going to go right back to Bitcoin again.
Yeah. Actually, I ever since around 2016, I went really full blown in it, because I was looking for a job change, because I was living in Svalbard at the time. Northeast of Greenland-ish, if you want to look it up. Great place to visit.
Northeast of Greenland?
Yes.
That is very north. I don't know of anything up there. Iceland, Greenland?
Iceland's not even close. It's not even close, man. It's like the south of Greenland. I'm like northeast.
Wow.
No, I got really back into crypto. I started doing some work with this project called NXT for a while. It was at the time, actually, it was a fun experiment to see how far decentralization could go before centralization occurs. I mean, it had some cool tech also. Still involved with Bitcoin markets, of course.
Nice.
Really just crazy. I actually co-authored the Hyperledger white paper as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I'm still involved with Linux operating, open source movement. So,
Interesting.
It's a consortium, not technology. That has to be very clear. Hyperledger Fabric is the thing under it. Different. And I just, started talking to a lot of people, tried to get more involved in education. So ever since then, it just exploded. I pretty much fuel the caffeine industry of what I'm doing.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Do you think Bitcoin's changed your life for the better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, on one side, it changed the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
It really opened up me seeing the world in a different way, that, our money is being controlled.
Mm-hmm. And now we have a choice.
Now we have a choice. And it started a rabbit hole again of me realizing about the power of choice and how that leads to more freedom. I mean, I think, yesterday during the panel you moderated, were people talking about, trade-offs and things like that. And I said, as long as people make a conscious decision to do that, who am I to judge somebody else who makes a decision to sell their privacy for whatever benefit or money?
Sure.
It's like, okay, you know what, if you are making that conscious decision, more power to you.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've been, trying to work towards as well, helping people get more freedom.
And what happens too is it's insidious. I mean, first you have one little Facebook account, then you get another and another, and then they've been talking recently. I don't think it's that scary, because I still, for whatever reason, I trust Intuit, because they're a big giant accounting company and they have reasons to not screw us all over. But there's been article after article about, do you know how much information, financial information, that Intuit knows about you? And if you think about it, like TurboTax, QuickBooks, Mint.com, most people put all of their accounts into here, then they have all of your accounts, then they have all of your purchases, then they have your tax information. I mean, if you want to talk about who knows the most about you, it's got to be Intuit, Facebook, then the U.S. government. I mean, we're having some order problems here, and especially if Facebook starts making their own money, as they've said they're going to, and then they're going to know, Facebook's going to go over Intuit, they're going to know instantly whenever you buy anything. They're going to know how much money's left in your bank account, and we'll have to see. It's going to cause some changes. Hopefully it'll cause more people to get into Bitcoin, because it is a privacy alternative. It is a currency you can buy anything with, not just Zuckerberg approved products. But then again, convenience, ease of use. People are going to flock to this Facebook coin. It's going to be very popular. It's to be very, just like Venmo today or PayPal 5 years ago, convenient, centralized things are easier to use than Bitcoin in the short run. In the long run, Bitcoin will be better. In the short run, people use whatever the easiest thing is, and those things are going to be very easy. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like that to happen, but I also admit that it probably will.
Yeah.
Huge user base on Facebook, so if they show out something and they just, they control people's timelines anyway, so it's
and
easy for them to put it out there.
It's so easy for them to advertise it too.
Yeah.
You just start out small, you just keep bringing up more and more mentions of it, and it comes up in your messenger, and it comes up in your news feed, and hey, your friend's using this, 10 of your friends are using this, we'll give you free $5 in Facebook money if you activate your account. Stuff like that. They're definitely going to do that.
Oh, they're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you working on now?
So I actually just closed down one of my projects, unfortunately. So I was trying to make it more easy for people to use Bitcoin, and I was working on an open source wallet,
Nice.
Web wallet also, and with the aim of increasing user freedom.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get funding properly, and also the team size was a bit too small. I made some wrong choices as well. Admit that.
Learning opportunities. You just got to learn from it and move on. It's really hard. There was a point where I wanted to make no mistakes, and that puts a lot of pressure on you to make no mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's easier when you can make mistakes, learn from them, fix them, do better. It's harder. You have to lose a lot. You can't win all the time.
Yeah.
But that's less stressful.
Yeah.
So.
But right now I'm working with this company called Consortio Group. So we just do innovation solutions consulting. So it's not just with cryptocurrency, but also with any other innovative technologies. Basically, we just help companies that don't have an innovation department, for example, and try to help them figure out what cool stuff out there can help them fix their problems. So, not as much into cryptocurrency in terms of my working schedule these days, but I still have a lot of side projects with it. So I'm trying to advise this one country called Niue.
Yeah.
Just giving them information. It's not an official role or anything, but they were curious about it. So, and I'm a guest lecturer at the University of Applied Sciences in Vienna.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love Vienna. Great museums. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. I lived there twice, so for me it's like going back home.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, and just in general, promoting education stuff. So
that's great. And where can people follow you and learn more about your work?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Travin Keith. So that's how it is spelled. I'll put it in the video.
Yeah, it'll be a link below. Yeah.
Perfect. And my website travinkeith.com. I haven't updated it in a while, but you can see my speaking list there.
Sure.
And usually I have some snacks.
Nice.
Although we consumed all of them in the past 2 days already, so unfortunately don't have any. But if you come to an event where I'm speaking at and find me, just come up, say hi. I usually have something for you.
Well, that sounds great. Check it out, and thanks so much, Travin, for the interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.